We use the snowmobile to pack the snow down so we can get through the woods more easily.
Yep. You want to find a sugar maple, like this one. You want to make sure that it's at least 9 inches in diameter and that you're on the south side. Because in the wintertime, the south side is the part of the tree that gets the most sunlight and it'll warm up faster. You'll get more sap that way. So, if you've drilled it in the previous years, you want to make sure that you're 6 inches away from any holes that you drilled in the previous years. So this time, we're going to go up a little bit. Now when you drill the hole, you want to drill at an upward angle, not too steep, but at an upward angle. The sap can actually flow down into your bucket. Well, it's going to drill us a hole here at an upward angle, slightly. Going to drill, but on this drill bit, we're going to drill till we only have 2 little cutting loops left. Now it's important to remember, when you're pulling the drill bit out, you keep drilling the same way that you were drilling into the tree so that you pull the wood shavings out with you. If you don't, then you'll leave the wood shavings in there and you'll clog up your hole. That's good. Pull it out. See, we're bringing the wood shavings with us. It's exactly what we want. Now this is what you're going to put in the tree. It's known as a spile. This side of the spile goes in the tree. You can see the cone where it widens to fit the hole. This little hook right here is where your sap bucket's going to go. And then this little channel is where the sap's going to flow into the bucket. So, stick it into the tree just like this.
And this little hammer is how I'm going to tap in the spile. Everything is little.
Don't want to wedge it in too far, just until, you know, it gives you a little bit of resistance. And then there's a hole in your bucket. The hole goes right on the hook in your spile, just like that. And then you take the hat, you put it on top of your bucket to prevent leaves and twigs and bugs and rain from getting into your sap and contaminating it. Just like that.
Crooked.
In order to get a good sap run during the day, the weather has to be above freezing, preferably in the 40s during the daytime, and then below freezing at night. The warming of the tree in the daytime creates a pressure and forces the sap out of the hole that's been tapped. And then the cooling at night just reverses that, forms a kind of a vacuum inside the tree and draws water up from the ground into the roots so that it can be pushed out the next day through the hole as it warms up.
Good tree.
Yeah.
And we start in the blue barrels until we have enough
Yep.
to boil, or until Dad has time.
This is the firebox. Now you see it's higher back here. That part right here officially is called an arch. What it does is I'll have the fire right here, and the hot air will stay up close to the bottom of the pan as it exhausts through here, and it'll warm the bottom of the pan here even though the fire is up here. Alright. Pan goes right over this. Fire goes right down here. This is our evaporator pan. It's got ridges in it to help get more hot air up against the bottom of the pan. And we fill the pan full of sap and build a fire right underneath.
Takes a lot of firewood. Old pallets work all right.
Just feed the fire and then close it up. Leave a little hole here for some air.
The smoke as well as the vapor goes up the chimney.
Yep, there's a draft going up the chimney. It takes the smoke and a lot of the vapor, but once it starts boiling, you'll see the room fill with water vapor. periodically the minerals form on the top in a foam. It has to be skimmed off. I guess you could leave it on and then filter it all later, but this just makes the filtering easier. You can see it's brownish. And I just pound it off here on the...
So those two big blue barrels are now half a white bucket. Smells good.
Now do you remember how this works?
Yeah.
Wow, that's going to be kind of difficult. Sand, sugar sand.
Which isn't really dirt.
Mostly calcium compounds. And the last part of making the syrup, stirring at boiling syrup, boiling water. It's at 214 right now. It needs to get about 219. It gets 7.4 degrees above the normal boiling point of water. As water evaporates, the sugar becomes more concentrated, and as the sugar becomes more concentrated, the boiling point goes up. Foam forms on top of it, and this part needs to be skimmed off, but as soon as I put this in the liquid, you'll see it start foaming up a lot more. And once those bubbles are very small and stay consistently small, then it's just about time for syrup. Alright, once it gets up to 219, and right now it's between 218 and 219, you check to see if the syrup is sheeting. Normally water will just drop off a spatula, but when it starts to form little tiny sheets, you'll know it's almost syrup. And there, not much sheeting there. It's just beginning to get thick. Okay, it's been at 219 for a while, and let's see. And you can see it starting to stick together, the drops starting to stick together and starting to form little very fine sheets. So I'm going to stop the boiling process now. If I boil it too long, then crystals will form in the syrup as it sets on the shelf. If not long enough, then the hot sugar content won't be high enough, and there's a possibility that it will mold or spoil. And you can see this sheeting there.
$70 gallons made
About 6.5 quarts. Which means the sugar content was just under 2%. 2% is about the standard. 1.5 to 2% is about the standard. Get that grimace off your face.
I'm smiling.